All right, welcome back, students. In this video, we're going to cover lesson 11-7. This is volumes of cylinders, cones, and spheres. So, one good thing about cylinders, cones, and spheres. Hold on. Forgot to autofocus. My bad. There we go. Okay. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. So, the cool thing about all three of these is the base is a circle. So a cylinder is a circle, a cone is a circle, and a sphere, I know I can't draw, but it's about like a basketball, whatever. They're all circles. So when we figure base area, it's all going to be pi r squared. And you could actually replace the b to this. You'll notice on the reference sheet you have both. I have not mentioned it to this point. I'm afraid of confusing folks, but when your figure is a circle, go ahead and replace that big B with the pi r squared h. You know, if you want to. So, for a cylinder, it is base area. So how much area this covers times the height, how tall it is, because we're filling it up. A volume would be how much liquid or gas, whatever, to fill this guy up. All right, so let's talk about Cavalieri's principle. Excuse me just a second. I may have to go get the printer if it keeps beeping at me because it's out of paper. But Cavalieri's principle tells us that if the areas of the bases and the measures of the two heights are equal, then they have the same volume. I mean, it just shows that they can be shaped different, but if the base area is the same and the height's the same, they're the same. I did put, let's see, what was I going to say? I think it's one question about this, because it's only something I mention once a year. But I can tell you, so for my folks, and then if any of the other teachers assign Module 11 practice in McGraw-Hill, I think it's number 33, but I'm not completely sure. But either way, there's a question that it's written out, and one of the spaces has a drop down, and it's basically asking you, actually no, now that I'm thinking about it, I thought it was this. There may be one that asked about heights, but there is one, I think it's number 33. So, let's just do this. Number 33, McGraw-Hill, Mod 11, practice. I know that's terrible. Anyway, you get 3 chances, but the answer, because the figure is missing, the answer is 18 millimeters. And I'm thinking it must be asking about the radius, because in order to be the volume, it would have to be cubed. But anyway, trying to kind of put out fires while I'm here. So, volume, I'm going to talk about 2 of those at the bottom of the page. Cone, talk about a couple of those, and then next page, or top of the next page, we got cylinder and a couple of those, and then one more composite solid from last video. And if you didn't listen, so a composite solid is 2 3-dimensional figures. So like a cube with a square pyramid on top, or the example on the back page is actually a cone with a semicircle or a half of a sphere on top, so it looks like an ice cream cone. And when you have a compound solid, you just find the volume for each and add them together. That's what we're going to do on the back page. So just preview what to come. So these guys, example 2, so part A, they want to know the volume of this guy in terms of x and pi. And it's because this gets hairy when you start squaring, stuff like this. So I'm going to show you that. B is find the volume if x equals 8. So we, instead of plugging it in like we did in the last video, if you watched, we're just going to take 8 and plug it in over here, make our formula, and it'll be like super simple. Like B is way over here, And it's volume equals base area times height. And remember, because it's a circle, we're replacing it with pi r squared. So, but we'll get to that in a minute. So we're doing that over here for A also. And then same thing. So, but over here, so our height, because our circle is the base. So this is the top, this is the bottom, this is how tall it is. So this is your height. If it's turned, it would be over, say if this was laying on its side, it would be this way, but it's standing up straight. So your height's x. So over here in my formula, I've already got pi and x. You know what? I'm going to put height first. So just, we're going to say pi times the height times the radius squared. Doesn't matter how you write it. Because of the commutative property of math, you can write it anyway in any order, but as long as you don't have any, parentheses, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, then you're going to be okay. So here is that. Now we're going to go ahead and play with this one while we're at it. So x equals 8. So if our height is x, that would make it over here 8. So equals pi. Well, we're just going to leave it like that for now. So back over here, and I'm going to write in blue since I messed up. So your radius. Your radius is x minus 5. I'm just going to write that here. Radius equals x minus 5. Well, we need the radius squared, so we're going to play around because I know this equation takes less room. I'm going to play around down here. So x minus 5, well, let's just write it here. So x minus 5 squared, so that's the radius squared, is the same as this. X minus 5 times x minus 5. Sorry for the blinking. That's because I've got the printer on and my lamp. Give me just a second. Let me restart the paper. Sorry, I should have paused the video. My bad. You guys know I'm a geometry teacher, not like a movie director, teacher, or something like that. If you can even hear me. All right, my apologies. If you heard me, cool. I'm a math teacher, not a movie like a theater teacher. So I forgot to pause. Now, so x minus 5, that's the radius, squared is the same as this. So we have to foil this guy. First, outer, inner, last. So x times x is x squared. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. I'm doing this to the side because we're going to add them over here and put it here. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. We have them twice. See, negative 5 and x, negative 5 and x. Negative 5 and negative 5 make negative 10x. And then negative 5 times negative 5 makes a positive 25. So this equals this. So now we're going to plug that in over here. X squared minus 10x plus 25. Again, hopefully the printing's not bad. I'm printing for my class and a couple of Miss Brailsford, so I'm trying to, oh goodness, hold on. I'm trying to multitask. It's kind of late for me. I'm usually in bed by this time. But duty calls. Trying to help us all out. Stand by 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Now, I'm printing one more set of study guides for Module 9, and which has nothing to do with this video, so just forgive me. So, all right, now, this has turned into this. Pi times x squared minus 10x plus 25. It looks a little clearer there. So we still got to distribute this x because they want it in terms of x and pi. So x is going to go here, and then it's going to go here, then it's going to go here. Pi is going to stay right where he's at. So x times x squared is x cubed. X times negative 10x is negative 10x squared. And then x times 25, it's positive, so I put the plus, it's 25x. So this is the answer for A. Now we could very easily go over here and where it says use x for B, plug it in this way, but it's a lot easier this way. So you see how, so our radius again is x minus 5. Well, if x equals 8, our radius is very simply 8 minus 5, which is 3. So for our base area, it's going to be pi times the radius squared, which is, oh, yeah, pi r squared, okay. So that's 9 pi. 9 times pi, and you have to hit equals. 3.141592654 is pi. So hit equal. So 28.27. We're going to say 28.3. 28.3. That's our base area. Let me move this guy out of the way. Plug this guy in. 28.3. So now we have 28.3 times 8 equals times pi. And remember, I've told you guys, and for anybody else, Miss Brailsford's class, whoever, unless it tells you pi equals 3.14 or something different in the problem, pi is this button right here. Now we got to hit equal. All right, so 711.25. Let me just double check my math here. So how did we get... Oh, whoa. No. Yep, sorry, my bad. So our height is an 8. Well, yeah, our height is 8. So what did I do? Oh. Yeah, the radius. Where did I? The radius is 3, so pi times the radius squared. All right, so, so in class I did it a little different. We did, so over here this was 9 pi. And of course this is this part. So over here you end up 9 times 8. That was the height. So 9 times 8 is 72, and you still had pi. So 72 pi gives us 226. So what was I doing wrong here? Where did I get 28.3? Okay, so maybe because we rounded. So we had 3 was our radius. 8 minus 5 is 3 squared times pi equals, so 28.27 times the height of 8. Oh, okay, never mind. I don't know what I did the first time, so that's crazy. So we got volume equals and nearest tenth, so it'd be 226.2, and all this was centimeters cubed. And I apologize that it's a little messy. Sometimes math is messy. All right, so this is for you guys. They only want it in terms of x and pi. So I'm going to help you out here. It says that the diameter is 4 longer than the height. So your height is x, because it tells you height x. What's 4 longer than x? Four longer would be like 4 more, right? All right, so we got this. So that's our diameter. Our radius, we don't know what x is, so you can't say like, 4 divided by 2 is 2. No, we don't know what x is. So it's x plus 4 divided by 2. So this is your radius. This is kind of a tough question, so I'm going to try. I'm going to put it up here for you guys. And I'm hoping you guys are going to get it right. So there's your radius. For your base area, it's pi r squared, so it's pi times this squared. And let me just tell you, so this, sorry, I had a mosquito or something. So cylinder is base times height, or pi r square height. All right, so this, and you don't have to write this, you can write it on a separate paper, but when you square something, it's the same thing as x plus 4 over 2 times x plus 4 over 2. Some of us have forgotten, but so we would multiply the denominators. You would have 4. And then on top, you're foiling these. So x and x makes x squared. And then 4 times x is 4x. 4 times x is 4x. 4 plus 4 is 8x. And 4 times 4 is 16. So this is your radius squared. So plug this in over here. You already got pi. Your height is right here. It's x. So you could just say, here's your height first, and then plug this in here. Distribute the x. Here's a hint. So when you get done, it should look like this. We're going to put that 4 here. It's just going to be over the pi. So whatever is in here times x is what should be here. X times x squared is x times 8x is plus 8 times 16 is plus 16x. So I've almost done the problem for you. Finish it off, please. Show it to me, and maybe I'll give you a piece of candy if you're not allergic to anything, and if you're not, then we'll give you some water. All right, bottom of the page now. We're going to look at these very quickly, and then I'm just going to flip the page because these are on the reference sheet. Cone. It is 1/3 base area. Base area is a circle, pi r squared, times the height. Notice the height is this dotted line. Not this, but the dotted line here. That's important because they're not going to give you that. Notice it's a right triangle. We're going to have to use this. That's what they're going to give us. And they'll give us the radius, but we use Pythagorean theorem to find that side. But for here, and it's a third because people ask me, so if you take a cone, if you had another cone, and another cone, that's 3 cones that make up one rectangle. So base times height, and then 1/3 of it's one of those cones. So you guys paying attention. Sphere. Volume equals 4/3 pi times the radius cubed. I don't have my highlighter, so I'm going to circle and draw an arrow because that's the only thing we cube. And let me show you. So on the calculator, to cube something, let's say our radius is 4. To cube it, you use this button because this is squared. This is square root. But so we hit 4. This button and say we're going to cube it. Well, cube is the 3 exponent, so that's what it's asking. What's the exponent? The exponent's 3. That's 64. Okay, to show you I'm right. So anything cubed is multiplied times itself 3 times. So 4 times 4, that's 2 times 4. That's the third one. We still get 64. So again, this and 3. Here, children. Okay, flipping over. Just a second. When I see. Okay, yep. One of my kids is up. That's okay. We're going to flip over. We're almost done anyway, so we're going to make it super quick. All right, so on the back page here, Alyssa's going to serve ice cream in these white paper cones. So this is your base. 10 is your diameter. And what is, oops, sorry. And what is your radius? That's half of your diameter, right? So it'd be 5. Now, this is a slant height. It's cursive L. We need actual height. Actual height would be the dotted line from the middle of the circle to the middle of the vertex. It makes a 90-degree angle. So what it looks like without the stuff here, this is a right triangle, this guy up here. The slant height is almost always going to be your across from the 90, so that is your hypotenuse. So it would be c squared minus a squared equals, we're going to call it h squared because we're looking for height. We're going to need that for the 1/3 base area times height, which becomes the 1/3 pi times the radius squared times height. All right, so 15 squared is going to be our c squared. Up here, that whole thing is 10, so half of it's 5. So 5 squared. So this is 225 minus 25. If you check, 15 squared is 225, 5 squared is 25. You subtract those and you get 200. And in case you didn't believe me, so 15 squared minus 5 squared. So it equals 200. That's this. Now we need to square root this button. So it's 14.1. So I'm plugging in 14.1 because that was my radius. We are going to have to square it. Nope, that was the height. Good grief. So that's the height. Now the radius was 5. So 5 squared, which is 25. So let's just write this over here. 1/3 times 25 pi, and then it's times 14.1 because that was the height. My bad on all that good stuff. So what I do in the calculator, and this is, so I'm going to write on here calculator, and this is what you will type in the calculator to get your answer. I'll put the answer right here. Volume equals, and then we'll box it in like we do. So you can either go 1/3, but it's easier just to multiply this guy out and then divide it by 3. So you would say, because we started out with 5 squared, it would be 5, and then this button is the x with the square. So 5 squared times, so we hit x, that's the times, 14.1 equals times, so 14.1 equals, and then times again. So we got this and this taken care of. Now we need pi. So pi, and see, pi is 3.1415926. That's pi, so we have to hit equals again. So this is the whole volume, and now we need 1/3 of it, so hit the divided by button. 3, and then equals one more time. So divided by 3 equals, just double check something really quick. All right, so 369, it says what's the volume. We're going to round down. So we're going to say 369, and this was centimeters cubed. Cubed always when it's volume. Whoops, sorry, didn't realize we were sideways. Okay, for the check, help you guys real quick. So this is your slant height over here. It's 4. You can't really tell. Here in the middle, it tells you, so the diameter is 1.5. So that means your radius is half of that, 0.75. So I'm going to set up some of this for you. So volume equals 1/3 of the base area times the height, which is 1/3 of pi times the radius squared times the height. Over here, you're going to find the base. Well, you're going to find the base, but underneath, so we have a right triangle. What it is? So the diameter is 0.75. That slant height is 4. So it's going to be 4 squared minus 0.75 squared is going to equal your height squared. So work that with your calculator. It would be 4 and then the x squared button minus 0.75. The parentheses is just to keep stuff separate. Then the x squared button. So 0.75 squared equals, so that's going to give you that, and then you're going to hit the button next to the square root button, which is that button. So I'm going to do it real quick, but I'm not going to say why, or I'm going to, you guys that are listening will know, people that are not will just think I'm playing with a calculator. So 4 squared minus 0.75 or just 0.75 squared equals, so that's your square, and then you square root it, so your height's going to be 3.9. So that'll help you guys. So you'll put the height in here. You already have the radius up here. You square it, multiply it by pi, and then divide it by 3. Pretty simple question. I've really made it easy for you. I hope you guys get that. All right, I'm going to do this one. I'm going to set this one up for you and let you finish it. My folks, show it to me. I'll give you some credit. You folks in Miss Brailsford's class, by the time you get to this, she will be doing it. You are welcome to tell her that Mr. Whitlock said on the video that if you worked the rest of the problem for example 7, the composite solid, and you give her the answer and the correct answer, that she should give you 5 extra points, but it's her class and her grade book, not mine. So real quick, I'm going to set this one up. So this is a composite solid, so it's made up of 2. This guy down here is a semi, we'll call it a semi sphere, because it's not a circle, it's a half of a sphere. So, and then this up here is a cone. So your total is going to be the volume for your cone plus the volume for your semisphere. Okay. Then you're going to set these up. So cone's going to go over here, and its volume is 1/3 base area times height, or 1/3 pi radius squared h. On this side, so because it's not a sphere, it's a semi-sphere, we're going to use so the volume for a sphere is 4/3 pi radius cubed. Now, we're going to divide it by 2 because it's half of that. So you get this, and then total down here, add them together. Okay? The base would be the same, but you don't necessarily need the base. You have the radius is 8. The height for the cone is 17. So you have all the numbers, you just have to use the calculator. So good luck to you. It's really easy. All right, so example 6. We are skipping part A because by the time I got to this in class, I had enough of terms of X and Y. I want to know that you guys can tell me the volume. So the volume of the sphere is 4/3 pi radius cubed. So they tell you the radius. So the radius is 2x plus 3. All right, so 2. Now they tell us x is 2.2. So 2 times 2.2 plus 3. It's kind of all together, but 2 times 2.2 is 4.4. Then you add the 3. 4.4 plus 3 is 7.4, so that is our radius. So we got 7.4 cubed times pi, and then it's 4/3 of that. All right, I'm going to show you. Oh, yeah, that's right. No height. I've been doing this too long today. I'm going to write down here. So the calculator, what you would type in here. Let me just move this just a hair. All right, so to get this, and I want you to watch. So 4 divided by 3, because it's 4/3. So 4, the divided by button, 3. Notice nothing's happened, so I have to hit equals. All right, so multiply, so times. And then I'm going to hit the pi button. Pi I'm going to separate every now and then. Now I'm going to have to hit equals. All right, so we've done 4/3 pi. So times. All right, our radius is 7.4, so we're typing in 7.4. Then we're hitting this button. That is the y to the x component. So it's telling it we are going to put an exponent here. What's that number? The number, we're cubing it, so it's a 3. So then you type 3, and then you have to hit enter again. And once you do all that, you get 1697.38. It doesn't say. So we're going to just say the volume is 1697.4, and this was cubic inches. Okay? All right, so you guys work the rest of this. I'll be back in the next video, probably tomorrow night, because it's already real late, to do 11.8 and 11.9. That will finish the text. I'll do some reviews throughout the EOC review for my folks and for any of you folks with Miss Brailsford, Miss Williams, Mr. Sobieski, or Miss Umad. You guys are always welcome. I stay for tutoring on Wednesdays. Esports does happen, so kind of gets loud, but I can definitely tell them to hush, and we can also kind of camp out in the opposite end of the classroom. If you have any questions, send me a message on Focus. If you are not at First Coast and you are stumbled onto this, leave me a comment. Please consider liking the video and subscribing. It helps the channel. Until next time, have a good night.